1, 2, 3, 4. I got thoughts running through my head. I got thoughts, can't you see? I got thoughts, the books I read. I got thoughts, won't you listen to me?
So we find out that Kira, the hacker that Angela gets for Bridge, uh, he gets killed. He gives Bridge something that he was trying to get rid of. It obviously scared him. Bridge goes and eventually finds out that it's a virtual room recording of a kind of a cyber brothel where the current mayor of Los Angeles is in an age play scenario where he's basically playing a child molester. Um, and I was trying to think of something when I came up with this scenario, trying to think of something that would be shocking. Obviously, having sex with a child is very shocking, should be, um, but at the same time was not illegal because age play online is not illegal. It's odd, to say the least, but it's not illegal. It's odd and icky but it's something that if you found it out about a uh, political figure, you probably wouldn't vote for the guy. Geez, I hope so. But Roy Moore may actually, he's kind of giving that a lie, making that a lie. But age play again, it wouldn't be illegal, but it would certainly, you would hope, ruin dude's career. Um, so Bridge gets this recording and he thinks, well, shit, it got Kira killed. I got to get rid of this thing too. Surely somebody can sell it. We're like 3 days away, 3 days away from this guy's election, re-electing this pervert. Somebody's going to want to buy it. And he spends the rest of the book trying to sell it to whoever will buy it, until he finds out that it's not quite as clear cut as we think. But one of the scenes that I want to talk about is when Bridge first goes back into the net, into the global net. The technology, the crash technology for entering the net and putting your consciousness on the global net is something that I kind of ripped straight off from Cyberpunk 2020. They've got these pill-shaped, coffin-like boxes that is a crash. It's a sensory, in my world anyway, it's a sensory deprivation chamber. So it's filled with a saline solution, and you have to put a waste catch over your crotch, and if you're going to go a long time, you may have to put a catheter or something like a butt or something, just a diaper or something. You have to have a waste catch, on your crotch so that you don't pee in the water. And then you also have to have oxygen, so you've got a mask covering your face, so that you're completely shut off from your physical body, and your consciousness enters the global net and controls your net body. In my world, the net body is basically, it's like your body is made of liquid mercury. It's malleable, and you can shape it into different weapons depending on what kind of programs you write. And you can also enter rooms where your net body can basically wear a skin. So you can have both an avatar that is not doesn't look like you're playing an avatar kind of like in a video game, or your avatar can be this liquid mercury type of body. And the liquid mercury type, the theory is because your computers in the global net would not have to render all that extra the skins and everything else that comes with being a fully fleshed figure. The net body is more efficient, and you can access the global net in a couple of ways. You can get in the crash with a full sensory deprivation. If you do that, your speed, your efficiency with all your programs is much faster. Or you can connect via Trode, which is just electrodes put on your face and your head. Um, and that is obviously not as efficient, not as fast, and you couldn't do things like you couldn't really use the net body for net combat, for global net combat. Um, you know you're basically you would be toast if you tried to hack that way. But most people do not have the interface jack, which would be a little port that's surgically implanted in the back of your skull. Um, Most people are not going to have one of those, not only because they're expensive, but because most people don't want that kind of surgery. You know, they're that's not what they do. But hackers, clearly, they do. And one of the things I wanted to make clear in all of the books, and every time we talk about hackers, um, is that it's not a physically positive experience. Your body, especially if you stayed deep in the net for long periods of time, the creche will sustain you. It's got intravenous feeding. It'll take your waste and all that. But your body's not meant to do that. Your body's meant to get up and get exercise. So all those things you think about with hackers now, let's say the 400-pound guy in his parents' basement with Cheetos all over him, and he's big fat because he didn't get around, all that. Take all that, take away the weight gain because he's being fed on basically intravenous stuff, so he's not going to get. It's just going to be nutrients. It won't be Cheetos. It won't be snack food. They don't eat well or often. They don't get sunlight at all, so their skin gets yellow and sallow and all that. And we see it when we see Angela. When she gets out of the creche, we see some of the effects. Bridge is like, she was never a beauty queen. She's always pretty to me. She was never a beauty queen. But he can tell that the effects of long-term use of the creche has affected her, has certainly physically deteriorated her appearance. So I wanted to be fair about hacking. Hacking, many of the things that we have in the world today would not have been achieved without hacking. I think hacking is a vital learning resource, and quite frankly, I love some of the hacks people do that are tweaking the powers that be and things like that, especially when they they break into a place and leak. They're whistleblowing. They're leaking things that corporations or governments and all that don't want you to know about. That said, that same type of act done for the purpose of another actor, not an independent hacker, but another actor, say the way WikiLeaks was used in the 2016 election, is certainly a negative effect of hacking. And credit card breaches and things of that nature are things that make me less interested in the hacker as lone hero, because that's not about achieving a gain for the little guy. That's not about the class warfare of the peasants fighting against the elite and the bourgeoisie. That is straight up criminals just stealing money because they can. That is another example of someone with the power abusing the power. I always mention, and I even mentioned at the end of the book in Under the Amoral Bridge, William Burroughs' Algebra of Need. That the poor and downtrodden and oppressed, when given the power to do so, will oppress those who oppress them. In that sense, maybe it's not a good idea to oppress people. One reason. Do unto others, as it were. But when hackers use themselves or use other people, or used by other people to basically just make money and try to topple governments, or shape governments to do the things that other governments want them to be, such as Russian election interference. The Russian election interference in 2016 and attempts in 2018, and probably the attempts in 2020, to get political for a minute. Those are not the good uses of hacking. hacking, just like any tool, can be used for good and evil. So let's use it for good. That's, my soapbox 2 cents. But I wanted to make in the Bridge Chronicles, I wanted to make it quite clear that hacking has a cost, both individually and societally. And the hackers that I generally have in the book are those that I think have a moral center of some kind that is worth following. They're not doing it just to make money. Although, let's face it, all of them are making money stealing old ladies' pensions, as Bridge says at least once or twice in the book. You're not just stealing off a bank, you're stealing off a bank's customers, in theory. Or in some cases, in actual fact. So I try to go both sides of the coin there, although I'm sure because it's cyberpunk and because the main thrust of much cyberpunk is the little guy against the man, take down the power, fight the power, and all that. So there is a lot of the hacker as the crusader in this. But I think if you look at the motivations and the actions of a lot of the people in this who are hackers, it's not necessarily all lily white. It's not all, it's not all unicorns and rainbows. I don't know what I'm saying about this book.